Review of the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, released in 1967, produced by George Martin. So this was the first Beatles album I ever bought. It would have been 2007, I think, when I bought this. So it was pretty early into when I was kind of getting into rock music. At the time, though, really, like, the only bands I was kind of into were like AC/DC and Pink Floyd. So getting this album was like really different for me because it was kind of my first, really my first experience with like psychedelic rock, which I'm a huge psychedelic rock fan now. This isn't really my favorite psychedelic album, though. I think that's definitely Piper at the Gates of Dawn, but this one's really good. I feel like I've kind of underrated this album really up until today when I listened to it, because I was even kind of expecting going into this to like it a little bit less than what I did, and I'm not really sure why that is. I think maybe because it's the first Beatles album I got, and it didn't really get me into a band at the time. My appreciation for them grew as I went through their discography and listened to all their albums and stuff. And I feel like, I don't know, I have this thing a lot with bands where like at a certain point I'll get them more than I have before, and then I'll go back and listen to some of their albums and they'll definitely, like, my appreciation for them will grow. And I think that's the case of what's happening here with Sgt. Pepper's a little bit, because I definitely appreciate it now more than what I used to. So kind of going into the songs, the first song, Sgt. Pepper's, it starts it off. I think it's a really cool way to start the album. It's kind of gives the impression of like the opening ceremony or something, I feel like, which is cool, because I guess the album, like, I'm not really sure whether it's a concept album or not. I think people like debate that or whatever, but it's I mean, it does kind of feel like, well, something I'll definitely talk about kind of at the end of it is this album flows like so well. Where I'm not sure if all the songs are exactly related like thematically, but at the same time the album flows so well that it all does kind of feel like it's one piece set up to like make you feel a certain, like you've gone on this like certain journey through the whole thing. And this song definitely kind of sets the stage as like this opening, which is really cool. And then it goes into the second song with a little help from my friends, and I really like how they, with the like Billy Shears thing, how they bring the songs together. With a little help from my friends, probably honestly my favorite song on the album. I know there's I think there's a lot of like cover versions of this song that are pretty famous, but this is my favorite like version of it, because I love the Ringo vocal, and like the group's backing vocals to it and everything. Just think it's a really great song. Then Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the third song. It's really trippy song. Really psychedelic song. But I've always thought it was really cool. The vocal sounds really weird on it for some reason. I think that's John singing, but it's always struck me as sounding like really weird. Paul's bass playing on this song is pretty cool, and I think like on this whole album it really seems like Paul's bass playing stands out a lot more than it had in some of the earlier albums to me. The fourth song, Getting Better, is kind of one of the more normal songs on here, and I feel like this might have been like the first Beatles song I ever heard. It's kind of weird. I feel like a lot of people get introduced to the Beatles a lot earlier than I did, but like none of my parents or like close relatives or anybody that I knew really was a Beatles fan when I was growing up. So I was kind of exposed to them a little bit later, and basically just through buying this album. But I know I had heard this song before because it was the one song on the album that I kind of really recognized, other than I recognized with little help from my friends, but I was more familiar with cover versions of it, and I don't think I'd ever heard the Beatles version before. So anyway, yeah, might be the first Beatles song I ever heard. The fifth song, Fixing a Hole, kind of the song for this album that I forget a little bit, and it's a cool track, but I, like when it's on I really like it. When I can't really remember it that well when I'm not listening to it, I feel like. But it's a pretty cool song, like in the way it fits in with the album. The sixth song, She's Leaving Home, song I used to really not like, but now I think it's a really pretty song. Paul's vocal on it's really great, I think. Something that I definitely used to not appreciate when I was younger, that now I'm like, oh, this is really cool. The seventh song being For the Benefit of Mr. Kite, another really trippy song. I really like how it comes after She's Leaving Home, because I think the contrast between the two songs is really cool. Apparently it was inspired by a circus poster that Lennon had bought or something, which I think is cool. But just a really cool, trippy, almost kind of creepy sounding circusy song. The eighth song, Within You Without You, the song I've heard a lot of people kind of complain about. I remember when I first listened to the album, I didn't dislike the song, but it was probably the song that most confused me on the album. But now I've really grown to appreciate it. I really, like I said, like the sitar and like the stuff that George did that was influenced by Indian music. I think it's cool. I really like the lyrics of the song, and I think it's got a cool vocal melody too, honestly. I think it's a pretty fun song to kind of sing along with. Then the ninth song, When I'm 64, kind of one of Paul's more, I don't know what to call it exactly, but those older sounding kind of funny songs that Paul does, which I think a lot of people don't, some people don't really like. I don't think Lennon liked them, but I always have enjoyed them, and I think it's just kind of a fun, catchy song, and I think it's cool coming after how they put it after Within You Without You, because kind of a lighter weight song after that song, which is kind of a heavier song, I guess. The 10th song, Lovely Rita, kind of one of the more straightforward rock songs on the album. I guess along with Getting Better, probably really two of the more straightforward songs on the album. But I always really liked this song. I really like the beginning part of it, just right when it starts. But yeah, pretty cool song. Definitely probably the track that I listen to on its own the most out of this album. The 11th song, Good Morning, Good Morning. One that I used to not really like, but now I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool, hard rocking song. Ringo's playing on it. I think Ringo's drums on this album sound really great as a whole. Just the sound he's got. 12th song, the Sgt. Pepper's Reprise. Another one that's cool. I think the band plays really well on it. That's just kind of cool to hear it reprised again with more basic arrangement and kind of faster. Then the 13th and final track, A Day in the Life. It's a great way to end the album. I feel like this is one of those really legendary songs that it's hard to really add into anything about it, but it's just a really impressive song. Definitely concludes the album in an awesome way. Paul and Ringo's playing on the track really kind of stands out. But just a really cool song. So Sgt. Pepper's definitely a 5 out of 5 for me. I'm still honestly, I'm not sure where this ranks in my Beatles albums. Before today, I never would have even considered it for one of my favorites, which is kind of crazy, honestly, because now definitely it's got to be up there. Thing is, I think I might like some of their other albums better if I were to go song for song, but this album just is one of the most perfectly put together albums in the way it flows and just the kind of almost journey it takes you on from the beginning song to the end song. It's just really cool. So definitely recommend this. I honestly don't know if I would say I would recommend starting here to get into the Beatles, because I started here and it kind of didn't really get me into them right away, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's just a little bit too of a like unique thing to be the first one, but I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but it's a great album. Definitely check it out.